Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Unleash Your Pleasure. I'm so excited for our guest today. We have the lovely Lisa Machenberg. Hi, Lisa.
Oh, hi, Sydney. I wanted to thank you so much for inviting me to be on your wonderful program today.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I'm so excited for you to share just all your knowledge and wisdom and with the audience. So I'm excited. And I'm just going to read your little bio before we jump into questions. Okay, so Lisa Machenberg is a staff hypnotherapist and has been an instructor at the HMI College for 30 years. She teaches the class on hypnosis and human sexuality. She has offices in Southern California and sees clients all over the world over Zoom or FaceTime. Today, Lisa will grace us by discussing how to rekindle intimacy and passion in long-term relationships. She will teach us how to use positive psychology, mindfulness, and the power of visualization to have a more authentic and joyous experience with our partner and ourselves. Woo! Love it.
Thank you.
So fun. So my burning question to start us off, Lisa, is how does hypnotherapy and human sexuality overlap? Just give us a bit of a background.
Well, first of all, let's talk about some things that we know from science. And you know who my co-therapist is? Her name is research. So what we know is that all sexuality starts in the brain. Now, I'll tell you something very interesting about men and women. If you put all men on a functional MRI, gay, straight, non-binary, and that person has an orgasm, it lights up in one part of their brain all the time. With women, even the same women, each orgasm is different and it lights up in different parts of the brain because women are extremely complex. It's an evolutionary adaptation. So since we know that all of sexuality originates in the mind, we can use the mind to enhance our experiences. And, you know, hypnosis sounds a little mysterious. You may have seen some of the movies, Get Out or the one called Hypnotized, or seen TV shows or maybe even been up at Magic Mountain. And it looks very, very mysterious. But I have to tell you, Sydney, that everybody listening has been hypnotized at least twice in the last 24 hours. I'll tell you how we know. Hypnosis is merely slowing down the brain waves, like when we're about to go to sleep and we're about to wake up. And I'll just show everybody a little hypnosis right now. You know, hypnosis is merely using the mind to change the physical body. Hypnosis is using the mind to change the physical body. Cool. You know what I have in this amazing tiny little container? Why, I have 3 scoops of Haagen-Dazs vanilla bean with hot chocolate sauce and salted almond slivers sprinkled on top. Did you feel your mouth water?
Yes.
It's a pen. I have no ice cream, but merely by using your mind and your magnificent imagination, you could get your mouth to water by anticipating that lovely, creamy Haagen-Dazs vanilla bean. What else can you do to get moisture? How else can you use your mind?
Please tell us.
Well, what happens in long-term relationships, Sydney, is that there is actually a teeter-totter effect, unfortunately, with intimacy and arousal. Now, you probably heard the opposite. The more intimate you get, the more aroused you get. But familiarity can breed contempt. And when you know where people leave their dirty socks, sometimes it's hard to become aroused.
Yes.
And when you know that amazing neurosurgeon who saves people's lives snores, sometimes it's hard to get aroused. And when we know that magnificent woman who we are so passionate about that she likes to gossip, sometimes it's hard to get aroused.
Mhm.
So when we know that there's a negative inverse of arousal in intimacy, what do we do in long-term relationships? That really sucks. And are you in a long-term relationship, Sydney, may I ask? The host, okay.
Not currently. I have been though.
Okay. So I think you know what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so what we can do for real is we can use that magnificent imagination.
Oh yeah.
And for everybody listening who's in a long-term relationship, who's having that adverse connection, that adverse relationship between intimacy and arousal, this holiday season, and we're coming up to the holidays, we're coming up to Valentine's Day, we're coming up to Easter in the spring and Passover, Ramadan. I'm going to invite you to go visit your person that you love at work,
Mm.
at the PTA meeting, if that's where he's going, because you're the main wage earner, at the park, at the party, at where you normally don't see your loved one. And imagine or visualize, picture, pretend that you walked in and you see this person in his or her natural environment, their natural environment, not in the bedroom, not in your house, not leaving their underwear on the floor. And take a look at your loved one as if you were a perfect stranger assessing,
Mm.
could I make this person sexually receptive to me? How would you seduce that person? Is that person attractive at work, writing up there at the board, leading that meeting,
Mhm.
programming that computer, leading that PTA meeting, volunteering with those children?
Mm.
Take a look at that person as if you're the competition trying to get that person to be interested. And can you imagine seeing your loved one at his or her personal best in a professional environment, at a party, charming everybody?
Mm.
Do you think that you might be interested in maybe getting that person interested in being sexually receptive to you?
Yeah, sounds fun. Or it just maybe gives you a chance to like flirt a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And everybody knows this. If anyone's ever gone to see your wife at her corporate job, or your girlfriend at her corporate job, and there's a guy flirting with her,
Mm.
you become aroused, not angry. Sometimes you become
Mm.
aroused.
Mm.
Think about it.
Yeah, for sure. And that's such a cool point because, yeah, we don't typically see our partners ever in a different context. We see them at home or we go to friends' places, but yeah, we don't, unless you work together, you don't typically see your partner or the person you're dating like at work or, yeah, in different scenarios.
Yes. Yeah.
Hmm.
So would you like a single sentence that will guarantee every single person who is listening a lifelong love affair?
Let's do it. I'm curious.
Always be the person you would like to see on the other side of the door. How simple is that?
Mm. Yeah,
You know,
beautiful.
when you're at home and your partner comes home, who would you like to see greeting you at home and hearth? Become that
Mm.
person. If you've been separated all day and you're coming home from work or your activity, if you've been stuck at home all day, who would you like to see at the other side of the door? And if
Mm.
you always become the person you yearn to see on the other side of the door, you will have a lifelong love affair. because you're becoming 100% of your best self when you see the person who's most important to you.
Yeah, I think that's a really beautiful thing to think about, because often we're waiting for the other person to change and then we feel like we'll change when they do. But I like this because it's like you get to be that first and see how that shifts things in your relationship.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you have any questions for me?
I do. I'm so curious about just like the power of visualization is and how that helps people kind of reignite that passion in their relationships. Like,
Okay.
is that about like fantasy, or can you explain more of that?
Oh, well, let's go back to our best friend, science. All right. So what happens when two people who are attracted to each other meet? What happens is there is a surge of dopamine. Now, dopamine is the pleasure chemical in the brain. We get it when we gamble, when we shop, when we think that there might be great marijuana around that we can get access to, or drinking. We get dopamine when we're doing double-digit multiplication and we get the answer. We
Mm-hmm.
get a surge of it. So dopamine is what floods the brain when we see someone who we would like to be sexually receptive. And then it moves to something called limerence. Say it because it's really fun to say.
Limerence?
Limerence.
Wow.
Limerence is the dopamine where you have this yearning, almost an obsession that the other person respond to you. You ever have that limerence with someone who you like?
I would say so, yes.
Oh, yeah. And then it almost feels as if you found your missing part. And there's so much dopamine in the brain. We can't eat, we can't sleep. Some people get a little bit of an upset stomach, wondering if the person will respond to them.
Oh, yeah.
And it is the butterflies in the stomach. It is the best and the worst, but it's the best. And then when that other person reciprocates, it is bliss. It is such bliss. And there's dopamine flooding the system that the object of our desire reciprocates. And then there's this connection. And what happens is naturally, unconsciously, below our conscious awareness, Sydney, we can't help it, pretend that we're the person we think the other person wants. We pretend to be who we believe the other person will love. Is that crazy? So if we're an introvert, normally we become more extroverted. If we're an extrovert, we can become a little more subdued. We actually become who we think the other person will fall in love with. Nothing you can do about it.
Right.
It just happens. You ever hear be yourself? Ha, 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 like that ever worked? We're not. You can't. It's impossible. So then our dopamine is high. Our five senses are incredibly inflamed. Everything is more intense. But then 6 months and 1 day, for real. You can't sustain that dopamine.
No.
It comes down and everybody returns to their natural behavior. And then we have to assess, do we have the same ethics, values, vision of the future?
Yeah.
And then we make a connection if we do. And as long as we have the same ethics, values, vision of the future, we're good. Except for if people become kind of obsessed with wanting that, those butterflies, those rainbows and those unicorns. And then that's the limerence comes down. And some people then end the relationship. So what can we do? Well, I'm a hammer. Everything looks like a nail. So we go to hypnosis. Do you remember the 3 scoops of Haagen-Dazs that I put somehow in my pen cap?
Yeah, it was great.
Well, yeah. what we can do is with our partner, we can either in our mind or reminisce the day, and we're going to do an exercise in a little bit. Can I do an exercise with everybody who's listening today?
I would love that.
You can even do this with your eyes open. It's okay. Remember the day you fell in love, the day you knew you loved that person. Remember what it looked like. What was the weather? Was it day or night? Remember an article of clothing or a color about that day. What did it sound like? Was there music? Was it the sounds of nature? A laugh, a sigh, a word, the sound of the other's voice. Remember what it smelled like. Was there an aroma of your lover, or the food you were eating, or the venue you were in? What did it taste like? And how did it feel? Remember that feeling of, oh, this is the other. This is the one that completes me. How did it feel in your body? Now double it and double it again. And when you see the other today, tomorrow, this week, all of those feelings will return. You just pour dopamine into your system. The other thing that we can do is, these things are a blessing and a curse. Everybody's so distracted. Some people say that intimacy stops when sex begins. People can get trapped in their own brain.
Interesting.
What would happen if we turned all the electronics off and lit a single candle, and with design took a look of the artistry of the other? What does the other look like? The hair, the eyes, the cut of the jaw. What does it sound like? Your favorite music? The size, the voice. What does it smell like? Feel like? And you come into mindfulness, and you are completely and totally immersed without distraction. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is the intention of being fully present with no judgment. The intention to be fully present with no judgment, and you feel your brain drifting off, gently and lovingly bring it back to the current moment. Have you ever seen a movie and were worried about what you were going to do after, or where you parked your car?
Oh yeah, or something, some other, something going on in my brain.
And at the end you said, damn it, I missed the whole movie.
Or yeah, a big part of it or something.
You need to savor each moment. Do you have any water or something that you brought to drink?
Water. Yep.
I invite everybody to take a look. Take a look at your water. Take a look at the vessel that you brought. Let's see it. You brought something perfectly clear. Take a look at the vessel, Sydney. And breathe in the exalted emotion of gratitude for the vessel you selected. Deep breath right into the pelvic floor. Feel it. What's the temperature?
Cold.
Oh, breathe in the feeling of it. Now bring it up to your mouth, but do not sit. Tell me when your mouth begins to water.
It already is.
Take a deep breath on the exalted emotion of gratitude. Your body, Sydney, is working exactly the way it's supposed to. And when women think about anticipation, it's not their mouth that waters. We lubricate. The sign that we are ready for intimacy. Take a sip. and feel it hydrate everybody, every cell of your body.
Mm.
You just savored a single sip of water.
Mhm.
May I speak for a moment about what hypnosis is and why it can help?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. This is for everybody listening. I teach up at a college called HMI College of Hypnotherapy. I have so many interns who who need hours, will see people at absolutely no cost. There's a hypnotherapist for everybody. They're all certified
Mm.
and they are ready to see clients because they need the hours. Think about it this way. The conscious mind, Sydney, is 12% of the brain. 12%.
What? I didn't know that.
You know what it has in it? Logic, reason, willpower. You know what willpower is?
Impulse control.
No, it's the thing that's never around when you need it.
Oh, yeah, true.
A voice
Mm.
and good decisions. That's 12%. So someone
Wow.
might say, I should love this person. This person has everything I need. Why am I not attracted to this person? Or I
Mm.
should be sexually receptive to my partner. My partner is nothing but good to me, but I just can't get aroused. I should.
Mm.
12%.
Mm.
88% goes to what is familiar or known. I'll give you a really good example. Ever meet anyone who wants to lose weight in your whole life?
Yeah.
They say logic, reason, willpower, or voice. I should eat a rainbow of fruits and vegetables and lean proteins.
Mm.
Now send them to a buffet and give them a plate. They
Right.
also have cheesecake, pasta, cheesecake, pizza, and cheesecake.
Mhm.
You can even watch them fill their plate, and you can even sit down with that person, and that person says, I shouldn't be eating this. And you
Mm.
go, whoa, what is that? I shouldn't be eating this, as they eat cheesecake. That's a collision between the conscious and the subconscious mind. 12% says a rainbow of fruits and vegetables. 88% says cheesecake. It always makes me feel good. Always. That's my experience. Who's going to
Mhm.
win? How's your math?
Oh, my cheesecake every time.
But now, if we use hypnosis, slowing down the brain waves, make a corridor, a portal between the conscious and subconscious, and say it's now familiar
Mm.
to feel even better when you eat fruits and vegetables and lean proteins. Same person, same buffet, same plate. You will see a totally different response. And
Mm.
yes, Sydney, it's just that easy.
Mm.
Imagine saying, well, I should be attracted to my partner. My partner's nothing but good to me.
Mm.
We open up the subconscious mind and say, now it becomes familiar to have that limerence, to have that yearning that the object of your desire reciprocates. And then there's this feeling of bliss. We
Mm.
can restore that known, bring it up from the subconscious into the conscious. 12 plus 88 equals what?
100.
And you thought there'd be no math in this class today, right?
And here we are.
So those are some things that we can do. Any other questions for me?
I'm just so curious how all of that really helps us like deepen into our pleasure, whether it's sensual, whether it's sexual, on our own, with our partner. Like, how does this just open up pleasure for us?
Okay, so first of all, intimacy is a problem of permission.
Mm.
And because we know that all arousal starts in the brain,
Mm-hmm.
it is giving ourselves permission to enjoy our beautiful bodies given to us by the divine or evolution, or both. Why have one when you can have both? Whatever your personal belief is, to give yourself permission to, if we have grown up with a culture or a family of origin that has shame around sexuality, shame around sexual variations, shame
Mm.
around same gender or only binary identification, shame around pleasuring ourselves. We want to understand how we became almost programmed that way, but understand that we know again about neuroplasticity, or you have a hypnotist on your program today, either way, that until the day we die, we can rewire our neurons. Neurons that fire together, wire together.
Yes.
So we can say, I understand my family, the generational contracts they made about sexuality. I understand it, going back generations, back to the old country, wherever the old country was for you. I understand those old contracts, but now I give myself permission to break those contracts and recreate what is moral and ethical and joyous and authentic and true for me. And although it will take a little, because neurons that fire together, wire together, each time I give myself permission, I'm creating new neural pathways that allow me to immerse in my truth.
I love that.
I hope
Beautiful.
that was helpful.
So cool. So cool. And so we're already almost at time. It just flies by, but this totally just leads into that free gift that you were talking about sharing. So I'd love for you to share with the audience what that is.
Hey, Sydney, you know what? Hypnosis is supposed to reduce stress, not ever cause it. And there are hypnotherapists for everyone. Money should never be a reason someone doesn't get the mental health that they need. Hypnotherapists can see virtually anyone. Sometimes we need a referral from a physician or a psychologist, but for virtually anything that's vocational, avocational, self-improvement, hypnotherapists can help. So I put a link, and you can put a link up on this podcast. It's called hypnosis.edu/sessions. And you fill out a little form, and you will get a hypnotherapist of your same gender, your cisgender. If you identify the opposite, you'll get a hypnotherapist of the gender where you identify, I promise.
Great.
And you will get one at no cost for 6 sessions. It will be an intern, because those are the ones who need the hours.
Beautiful.
And that is for every single person. It doesn't have to be an issue that's sexuality related. Of course it can be, but it can be anything from working on our healthy bodies, motivation, law of attraction, relationship strategies, either finding our lifelong love affair or reigniting with our current partner. It can be habit control, smoking cessation, whatever, or even just a little pandemic burnout.
Yeah, I think we all need that right now.
Whatever anybody needs, there is help available, and there is not a cost for it.
Oh my gosh.
And that's my gift to you. If anybody needs to reach me, I'm very, very easy to reach. If anyone wants to watch some of my media stuff, I'm on the Steve Harvey show. I have a bunch of stuff. I have my own show like you. Mine's Amazing Mind with Lisa Machenberg and Hypnosis Today. And you can just find that by Googling my name. All my stuff shows up, and all that content is no cost to you or any of your people who are watching today. May I ask you a favor?
Of course.
May I take a picture right now?
Yeah.
So for my promotion. Thank you. So I'll put this up so that we can let everybody know, not only about my lecture, but about all the lectures on intimacy and sexuality, which is one of the greatest gifts that humankind has.
Yes. Well, thank you for that generous gift. Okay, everyone, I've done hypnosis before. It's so valuable. I would highly recommend taking Lisa up on her offer, free gift. It's so beautiful. It's like a beautiful experience, even if you're just curious about it. So It's
And
like
it's very
very
safe.
generous. Yeah.
It's very safe. You know what? No one sees a hypnotherapist to get less control over their life. People only see a hypnotherapist to get more control over your life.
Yeah, it's a beautiful experience. So I highly encourage everyone to access that free gift. It's beyond generous. So thank you, Lisa. And
Thank
thank
you.
you for this beautiful chat today. I did not know that only one part of the brain lights up when men self-pleasure versus women. I learned that today. That's really cool.
Yes, yes. And if anyone has any questions, I answer my own phone. Please feel free. I gave you all my information, and all over the world. I can see people all over the world via Zoom. If you're in Southern California, come take a walk on the beach with me and we'll do hypnosis using the ocean as our music.
So cool. Well, thank you, Lisa, for this amazing interview. It was so lovely to have you today.
Thank you.
And
Goodbye, everybody.
thanks to the audience. See you next time for our next speaker to help you unleash your pleasure. Bye, everyone.
Bye.